Hey, what's up guys? It's your favorite AniTuber, My Hero Deku here. You may have noticed I haven't posted in 10 months, seriously. I posted a video back in July, then I posted the duck video, which everybody loved, obviously. Who doesn't love worshipping a duck? Kind of a shit post, but here we are. However, with that out of the way, I am back to uploading this summer, even though I don't like editing. You will notice that is why we're recording like this. Because I think it'll make it easier for me to upload. I know it seems a little lazy and kind of not the best, but it'll make it easier for me to keep up motivation and kind of make just content I enjoy. Plus, I think having a background like this is kind of a waste not to make use of it, you know? So with that out of the way, let's get into the video.
全然好きじゃなかったホラー映画とキャラメル味のキス全然好きになれなかった
This weekend, I had a chance to watch the anime movie, Her Blue Sky. Now, I'm not sure if this is legally released. I watched it by a bit of dubious means, but just I saw it pop up on my feed and I recognized the character designs. So I look, and it's got character designs by Masayoshi Tanaka and a storyboard by Mari Okada. And if you don't recognize those names, I don't blame you, but they are the same people who worked on series like Anohana. Now, in general, I think Anohana is a bit of a weak story, but I really love Masayoshi Tanaka's character writing, like character designs, so I decided to just give it a shot, check it out. It's about 2 hours entire runtime, so I figured there wasn't really much to lose. Going into it, the animation in this movie was absolutely breathtaking. There were a couple of scenes that I noticed right off the bat. Like right at the start of the movie, we're introduced to the main character, Aoi, and she's seen playing her bass guitar in the very first scene. And some of those scenes were so well done with that, with the light reflecting off the guitar and her fingers moving. It just looks so real and so accurate. I almost think it's rotoscoped. I don't know enough about animation techniques to say that for sure, but I'm pretty sure it was, and it showed. It was really, really pretty. I don't know if any of you watched another music anime, Carol and Tuesday. It was on Netflix. It's been around for a little while now, almost a year old, I want to say. But there was a scene with a character named Pyotr, and during the talent shows, his dance sequences were rotoscoped. And people were talking about the animation there. I'm pretty sure these were animated in a very similar style. It definitely was up to par. There was another scene in the later portion of the movie that I don't think was rotoscoped, but the directing and scene composition there was absolutely perfect. I don't want to get too into it because it covers spoilers, but I really, really enjoyed it. The next thing going into it was the story of this movie was if you've seen Anohana and other works by these creators before, it'll seem a little familiar at first because if you've seen Anohana, you know it kind of covers like Menma coming back to life and them dealing with those regrets with what happened to her. There's some of that in this movie. There is. But I think there's a much more wholesome aspect to it that I really enjoyed. This story kind of covers Aoi, Akane, and Shinosuke mainly, who are the three characters it really focuses on. And we're introduced to the movie with kind of a flashback in time, where Aoi is young, Akane and Shinosuke are in a band with some of their other friends, and they're hoping to make it big. They talk about going to Tokyo and trying to make it together, but there's an accident, as there is in anime, where Akane and Aoi lose their father. So Shinosuke has to kind of go on his own. And then we skip forward, and Aoi's kind of the age they were then. You can see she's kind of followed in the footsteps because back in the day, Shinosuke kind of told her that if you learn to play the bass guitar, you can play bass in our band. So that's kind of just been her motivation throughout. And she's just kind of followed through with it. Now, a lot of this seems kind of cut and dry. It is a very simple story. But where it really starts to pick up is when they're planning a town revival thing. Kind of like in Hands Off Motion Picture Club, if you've seen that, with animation. But instead it's music. And as fate would have it, the music they hire from out of town to kind of bring in more people for tourism happens to have Shinosuke in his band. Now, of course, later we'll find out his old bandmate invited him knowing he was there, trying to get Akane to move on. But it's really kind of the shocking moment that really builds up the story and builds up the shock. Now, upon this happening, Aoi runs off, she's freaking out, Akane's freaking out, everyone's freaking out because no one really sees it coming. And then we have her go off to the place where they used to practice, where she finds Shinosuke, or Shino as she was calling him at the time, in the practice place, but not the one they've just seen, the one from the past. Now, immediately, they kind of set up this contrast in character that I noticed very vibrantly. The younger Shinosuke has his hair, I don't know if it's dyed or just anime magic, in this bright red, where Shinosuke has a more gruff and darker haired color to his hair, as well as his appearance. Is really portrayed in a way that shows that he's kind of gone downhill. Maybe those dreams he was going for didn't really work out. He's playing professionally, but clearly it's not what he had in mind. And that's kind of really what I want to get into there. They kind of build up the story, not so much as a story with a beginning, middle, and end, but as a way to kind of build on those characters, which was very nice to see. All the characters they just felt very genuine, very real, lots of aspects that made them feel like they're people I could know in real life. Like, Shinosuke is very clear looking at his character that he had high hopes and ambitions when he was younger. He was kind of trying to make it as this big musician. He left to follow those dreams. He thought he'd come back and take Akane away after he's made it big. He even tried to debut solo, we find out, with a song called Her Blue Sky. Always gotta love those title drops in anime. And it was interesting to see that, because at the start he seems like this just washed up has-been. One of the first scenes we see when he comes back is Akane bringing him back to his hotel room. And he's not acting himself. He's drunk. It's not the character they've shown us so far. You can tell he's kind of not happy with where he is in life, but he's still trying. And kind of as the story goes on and we see more interactions with him and Akane, you can kind of see the aspects of where he's still the same, but it all doesn't really culminate until the end of the film, where he meets his younger self, because everyone can see him. It's not like in Anohana where no one can see the Menma. Everyone can see the younger Shinosuke. So when he meets himself, he just lets him have it. It really just kicks off the theme of it, really, in my opinion, which is moving forward and coming to terms with regrets, but using those regrets kind of to continue moving forward instead of getting stuck on them. And what was interesting is the way they presented this living spirit thing is that he's got these regrets about leaving, but he's also got regrets about not properly leaving, because he always wanted to leave. He just didn't leave in the way he wanted to personally. And that was just really interesting to see, because that's when you really see Shinosuke start to act like himself again. And they didn't do it in a way that felt cheap or unrealistic. They did it in a way where he's not the same anymore. He's a different person. He's changed. It's been over 13 years, but he's still there. He's still the same person to an extent deep down. And I just think that contrast between the two younger and older versions of himself was really, really well done. And he's not the only character like that in there. Aoi in particular, just you can see, like I mentioned earlier in this video, she focused on playing the bass. She's been trying to follow that dream the whole time. She says she doesn't want to go to college. She's going to go to Tokyo and kind of follow in his footsteps and do what he did, join a band. But you kind of see, again, building these characters off of each other, that part of her motivation for doing that isn't just the fact that she used to like Shinosuke. It's that she doesn't want to end up like her sister, who up until then, she felt like gave up her dreams to kind of protect her after their father died, and she doesn't want to end up like that. She doesn't want to get stuck and just give up. Now, of course, we'll also find later on that, and this is probably one of the weaker character building aspects in the film for me, was she finds her notebook under the sink, or her old diary, just with plans of how Akane could make Aoi happy and just kind of really be there for her as they grow up without their father. And it's sweet, it's sweet. It's just, it felt a little contrived the way she found the notebook. But again, it creates this parallel that I really like between the two characters. Now, another thing I noticed is a lot of them have parallels and like just characteristics that make them all different. Like Aoi and Shinosuke both have moles on their eye, and they call themselves eyeball stars. Again, something, it's not really important to the film, but it just builds these realer feeling characters. Another thing, and I caught on to this one because it's something I do myself, is anytime Aoi was frustrated or confused or feeling like things just weren't going her way, she'd kind of rub the back of her hair and mess with her hair, just trying to calm herself down. It's these little things that they didn't have to point out that I think just really built these characters. Because quirks like that, everybody has things they do like that. Everybody has things they do when they're nervous, worried, scared, sad, whatever, and having those interactions with these characters that they do with one another, and even with the smaller minor characters like the musician that Shinosuke plays for and travels with his band. He actually has a pendant he can't play without because he feels like it helps him connect with the people of the land and gathers energies. And while it sounds cheesy and corny, it's these things that really made the characters feel real to me. And if you know me or know my channel at all, you'll know that characters are a real selling point for me. So this is a movie that I think just I really enjoyed because the cast felt real. They kind of focused in on those three characters, four if you count the younger and older version of Shinosuke. And it was really beautiful to see them kind of come into their own and kind of come into the theme of just living with those regrets, and instead of letting those regrets define them and kind of give up, using them to push themselves forward. All in all, it was a guys, great like I film, was and saying, I hope to get back into uploading more frequently. This was the first of the weekly videos. I intend to continue to do these more like different videos where like, oh, let's play some quizzes. Oh, let's do a room tour. I want to do another one of those. As you can see in the background, some of the stuff back here has changed. Got a few more things in there, moved some stuff around, you know. So I'll keep doing that kind of stuff. But to kind of make sure I upload more, I'm thinking of maybe doing like anime games once a week, and maybe as seasonal anime comes out, because I like to do that, I'll upload some episode reviews. It's kind of just me rambling, but that's the kind of thing I like to do. This is just a way for me to kind of discuss my love for the medium, you know? Anyway, thank you guys for watching. This has been My Hero Deku.